Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Tony with Throw the Grill. Today we are working on a 2012 Jeep Wrangler JKU. It's a Sahara, and the repairs I'm going to be doing on this are the four most common repairs that are done on a Jeep JKU years 2007 through 2018. I'm trying to get this Jeep ready for an overland trip that we have in like 2 weeks. I think we're gonna have like 15 Jeeps. And also I want to get these repairs done so we're not breaking down out on this overland trip. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this Jeep up on jack stands, and then we're gonna go over those four common repairs that need done, and then go ahead and get them done. And I'll give you some tips and tricks on the way. So here we go. One of the most common problems with the JKUs are rear calipers. And the most common sign you can see is that the brakes are grinding. The calipers like to lock up. So you can definitely tell this side's having a problem because you can see it's been grinding. You go to the other side, still looks good. There's still some pad left. Versus this side, metal to metal. So I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to diagnose if it's the caliper or if it's the brake hose. The first thing here, what we need to do is just get the caliper off. So this is two 14 millimeters. Alright, first what we're going to do, these pads, they want to make sure this stuff's not seized, but as you can see the pads aren't seized on the bracket, so that's good. Make sure your slides move, which that's all good. You can see something was wrong here. Now you can inspect your caliper, see what it looks like. This has a little chip taken out of it. So the first thing you need to do is see if you can return this caliper, which it's completely seized. Alright, now to determine if it's the caliper or the brake hose, what you need to do is break the bleeder loose. And then if this returns in with the bleeder loose, that means the issue is in the hose. If it still doesn't return in with the bleeder loose, then it's the caliper. But we're going to go ahead and get something on this bleeder and see if it's the caliper or if it's the hose. Majority of the time, it is the caliper, but it's hard to say if this one's going to prove me wrong or not, so we'll see. Alright, I just stuck the caliper back on there just so it was easy to break this bleeder loose. Alright, we're getting fluid out of it, so I don't think it's going to be the hose. I think it's going to be this caliper here. Let me go ahead and put that on there, see if it'll return. Nothing. So it's this caliper that needs replaced. Go ahead and tighten that bleeder back up. So tell me if you're a JK owner, if you ever replace your rear caliper. Almost have to bet if you own the Jeep for at least a year or two, you probably replaced one rear caliper for sure. So next what I'm going to do, I went ahead and we got rear brakes for this, and I already ordered a caliper because I kind of figured that was going to be the problem, but I just wanted to double check. But I picked up, we got power stop brakes for this, which I love power stop brakes. I had a 2005 TJ, had 35s on it, and just had like basic brakes on it. And one time I was probably going like 60, 65. I went to go stop. All of a sudden there was an accident, and I hit my brakes, and I had brake fade so bad, I ended up having to swerve off the road so I didn't hit anybody. I put these power stop brakes on it, and then I drove the Jeep all over the place and for years with power stop brakes and never had that happen again. So I will spend the money on power stop brakes. Well, I have everything sitting outside here. The weather said no rain. It's going to be a nice day. So I figured I would do the repairs at home on the driveway to show you guys that it's something you can diagnose and repair at home. Well, all the parts are sitting outside, getting rained on. All the tools were out there. I got those picked up. So once this rain stops, we're going to go ahead and get back out there and get going. Now, when you're installing drilled and soldered rotors, there's a certain way they go. And the nice thing the power stops, they're actually labeled. This one has rear driver. Okay, so I got the rear caliper on there. I'm just going to let it gravity bleed for a little while. And I'm just going to keep topping off this master cylinder while I'm working. I don't have any help to bleed the brakes right now. But usually gravity bleed does really well. And I'm just going to have somebody help me later on just to make sure all the air is out of the system. But the gravity bleed usually does really well. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the second most common problems with the JKs and JKUs. And that is the front track bar, either it be an aftermarket or factory. The symptoms you get from that is like a creaking or popping sounds, or even a drivability problem where you can get death wobble. Now, the easiest way to check this is that you actually need some help, which I don't have any help. I've already checked this, so I know what the problem is. What you do is have somebody get inside the vehicle while you're underneath of it, looking at your track bar at both ends of the bushings, or both ends of the track bar at the bushings or the heim joints. All you do is have them turn that wheel side to side, just kind of back and forth, not like crank it, then crank it, but just a little side to side movement with the steering wheel. And all you do is watch the ends of the track bar and see if you have any play in them. That is the easiest way to check the track bar, and the most efficient, at least I think so. So if you think you have any problems with that, just do that, and I guarantee you will find the problem, if that is the problem. So I'm going to go ahead and get going on this track bar. I'll show you what we got for it, which is a really nice track bar. So here, check it out. Here it is. Let's see if I can get it out of there. Man. If you guys are looking for nice steering upgrades for either the drag link tie rod or the track bar, Steer Smarts has an awesome setup. Super heavy duty. If you don't, that track bar I just showed you, man, that thing is beef compared to what is on it now. Right now, we're just running an old Rubicon Express track bar, and we used to think that was sufficient enough. But man, this Steer Smarts, that Yeti track bar is freaking awesome. This thing is going to hold out for a very long time. Very long time. I mean, just check that out. That is insane. I wish they had this for my TJ. I would definitely switch that for a TJ. Man. But we're going to go ahead and get going on this thing. Let's get this thing installed. Here we go. Alright, here's the old Rubicon Express track bar. What happened was this time joint started getting worn out, and there's just movement side to side on that. And this right here is what we're gonna switch to. Look at the difference on that. That is freaking awesome. This thing is such beat, man. So what I'm gonna do, since the adjustment was already set up, I'm gonna go ahead and just take measurements from center of the bolt hole to center of the bolt hole, and then I'm going to measure that on the new track bar and set it up in there, and then I'll double check and make sure that the axle is centered onto the vehicle, but that should get us pretty close. So let's go ahead and get a measurement on this, then we'll get that done. Okay, we got the track bar on there. Now for the third most common issue with the Deep JK and JKU are ball joints. Now, usually on ball joints, you'll see uneven tire wear. Sometimes you'll get a clunk out of it or popping, and in severe cases, you will get death wobble because of the play in the ball joint. Now, they're super easy to diagnose from home. So all you gotta do is get the Jeep up on jack stands. You don't even have to take the wheels off, but I already got the wheels off on this because I am gonna go ahead and replace the ball joints. Let me show you how to check ball joints really quick. So all you gotta do is get it up on jack stands and have a pry bar, and here's how you do it. This is the easiest way I've found to do it. I like doing it. I just get a pry bar, get it between the C, get right here between the C and the knuckle. Now, you watch, all you gotta do is pry on this. You can watch the ball joint move. Ready? There's not a lot in that one, but you can see it moving here. Now, for the ball joint, they're obviously a little harder to do than replacing the track bar or doing a caliper on the vehicle. But it is all stuff you can do from home with basic tools. The only thing you're going to need is a ball joint press. If you don't have one, you can go to AutoZone, O'Reilly's, Advanced Auto, whatever. You can rent a ball joint press. Or if you plan on doing all your repairs on your Jeep by yourself, just go to Harbor Freight and pick you one up. I think, I don't know, $80, something like that. Don't quote me on that, but they're not that expensive. So you will need that. But you know what? If you get a ball joint press, you can do a lot with that. That's what I use to change U-joints. So, yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead and get this part of the ball joint in there. All right, a little trick. If you're trying to get the ball joints out and they're not coming out with the ball joint press, all you need to do is have a mini sledge. And with that, you can just hit the C of that axle where the ball joint would press into the axle. You hit that with a sledgehammer with pressure on the ball joint press. And eventually that ball joint will work its way loose. Don't get heat out. You don't need heat to get ball joints out. I promise you, I've got every ball joint out in the last 15 years with a basic ball joint press, some pressure on that press, and a sledgehammer if I needed it. Sometimes you don't need it, but if it does get stuck, a sledgehammer works really well, hitting on that C of the axle there to get that ball joint out. So give that a try if you get stuck. And also, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, just go ahead and leave a comment, and I'll get back to you. I'll help you out if you're trying to get this done and you just can't seem to get that ball joint out. So leave a comment. All right, so I did a pretty stupid thing. I was gonna go ahead and change the brakes with this on the front also while I was doing all this, and one of the caliper slides, they were frozen. Normally you can take, I just put an impact on the nut side of that slide, and you heat up the bracket right here, and then you can take that impact and you can back it out. Well, I didn't heat it. I was like, ah, this should come out of there, and I just ripped on it. Well, guess what? I broke that slide off in there. And to be honest with you, I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm just gonna go ahead and buy another bracket that comes with new slides, just because you all probably know how it goes. There's always something else that goes wrong no matter what you're doing. So and go pick that up. All right, the fourth most common problem on the Jeep JKUs are U-joints. Usually I like to do the U-joints when I do the ball joints. I was going to do it on this Jeep, and I got the wrong parts from Summit. I didn't realize it till I got home, and I'm not making a trip over there, so I'm just gonna get the ball joints done and just put it back together for now, and then if the U-joints go bad, I'll go ahead and replace it. But I put the U-joints on this, I think, about a year ago, and really hasn't been driven a whole lot. So they are a little rusty, but they should be okay for now. But for the issue, the symptoms for a bad U-joint, if it's on the drive shaft, you'll get a drive-on vibration or a clunking sound out of it. And then for the axle U-joints, you'll usually get a clunking or popping sound when you're turning, or when they start to dry out on the axle or on the drive shaft, you'll get a squeaking sound. They're really easy to diagnose. When you're doing the drive shaft U-joints, you pretty much need to roll under there, grab that drive shaft at the end where that U-joint's at, and just push up and down on it. And if you have play, then it's definitely time to change it. And then for the axle U-joints, what I usually do, I just take a pry bar and I'll get it between the C's on the axle, and then I'll pry up using a pry bar on that axle shaft. And then if you get movement on those, then you know those U-joints need to be replaced. They're not too bad to change. I like to use a ball joint press when I change those. Maybe later on I'll do a video on changing out U-joints for the axle shaft. Alright guys, that's the 4 most common issues on the Jeep JKU from 2007 to 2018. But to be honest with you, they're pretty much the most common issues on all the Wranglers. But if you guys have any questions on how to do any of these repairs, or just have any questions at all in general about Jeeps, leave a comment below and I'll try to get back to you guys. But if you guys like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. You guys have a good one.